Brian Walsh told police he last saw his wife New Year's Day. A friend of the couple says the last time he saw them, nothing seemed out of the ordinary.
We hugged and celebrated and toasted and just what you do over New Year.
Anna Walsh's friends say they now fear the worst.
She would not, by her own choice, go a day without speaking to her husband or children. Like, that's very out of character.
Hey guys, so here's a new case that's coming out of Massachusetts. Other creators are already talking about this case. I thought I would go over it for my audience if you guys are not aware of Anna Walsh's disappearance and her husband being arrested, not for her murder, but for another charge unrelated to her case, or maybe it might be related to her case. I believe he was charged with tampering with evidence or something, but it might clear it up in this article. I am just diving into this, getting some understanding of this case, so I thought this would be interesting, and then I want to go over to the affidavit related to his charges and why he was arrested. So this is an article from CNN. It says investigators combed through trash and found what they believe is evidence linked to Anna Walsh's disappearance.
Tonight, investigators processing potential evidence collected after hours of searching through garbage late into the night at this trash transfer station north of Boston. Law enforcement sources told CNN materials found included a hacksaw, torn up cloth material, and what appears to be bloodstains. The Norfolk District Attorney not commenting on the specifics of what was found, only to say the search resulted in a number of items which will now be subject to processing and testing to determine if they are of evidentiary value. Sources also tell CNN investigators found disturbing searches on Brian Walsh's internet records as they looked into the disappearance of his wife, which included how to dispose of a 115-pound woman's body and how to dismember a body. Walsh is being held on a charge of misleading investigators. He pleaded not guilty.
And this article says after the disappearance of Anna Walsh in Massachusetts, investigators continue uncovering bloodied evidence that they believe may be connected to her case. So this case is starting to steam up a little bit.
Prosecutors describe chilling details during his arraignment of what they say investigators found at the family home in Cohasset.
And during that time, they found blood in the basement. Blood was found in the basement area, as well as a knife, which also contained some blood.
Walsh's attorney not commenting on the case, her office telling CNN she wants to focus on Walsh's defense. During his arraignment, she said her client is cooperating with investigators.
Mr. Walsh has given several interviews. We have consented to searches of his home. We have consented to searches of his property.
In the week since her workplace reported the mother of three missing on January 4th. Now remember, it wasn't the husband that got arrested or that called this in. It was her work that called this in because she never really missed work.
The 39-year-old mother of three wasn't reported missing until January 4th, when her workplace said she didn't show up.
And then we find out there's other charges looming related to forgeries of paintings associated with this. It kind of gives you almost that semblance, there's identifying markers with the whole Alec Murdaugh case. So, this is kind of in that same realm, but not. So it just goes on to say they have a 2-day ground search, family home, and dug around piles of trash looking for clues on her whereabouts. Investigators have already uncovered possible evidence, including a bloody knife at the home, prosecutors said, a hacksaw and apparent blood stains in Boston area trash.
Investigators discovered her husband made purchases at a Home Depot on January 2nd.
He's on surveillance at that time, purchasing about $450 worth of cleaning supplies. That would include mops, bucket, tops, T-Vicks, drop cloths.
Guys, this is going to be a horrific revelation just based upon these two paragraphs, and it's very concerning for me. So I hope you guys are paying attention and start funneling me any information you have on this case, what you're hearing on the grounds. If you're in Massachusetts, get me something. Earlier discoveries included searches in her husband's internet records related to how to dispose and dismember. It's horrible. The article, Hacksaw and Apparent Bloodstain Recovered by Investigators. Brian Walsh, this is her husband right there, is believed to have done something with his wife, Anna, which is right next to him. So Brian is on the left side, Anna is on the right side of this photo. Brian Walsh, 47, has been charged with misleading investigators. There it is. So he misled investigators. This is what I don't understand. If we go back to Quentin Simon, remember, law enforcement knew she was responsible and did not arrest her, even though she had double probation and violated probation by having drugs in her system. They refused to arrest her. This man, they arrested right away. So he did get a bond hearing. He's out on $500,000 bond. I don't know if that bond has been posted or not. I don't know if this article will allege one way or another. But just getting back to his charges, Brian Walsh, 47, has been charged with misleading investigators in the case, as police say he gave them false timeline of his activities and whereabouts around the time his wife went missing. He pled not guilty. Law enforcement sources told CNN they expect to have the district court impanel a grand jury to begin hearing witnesses, seeing videos, and issuing subpoenas for record. It's just the latest legal issue, Brian Walsh. He has been separately pleaded guilty to federal fraud charges and is on house arrest and is awaiting sentencing in that case. In a letter to a federal judge in that case in 2021, he promised he had changed for the better. I have created a contract for myself, and I'm an honest, courageous, loving leader. I repeat this contract to myself on a daily basis, he wrote. Because of that support and training, I'm unwavering and always being true to my word and responsible for my actions, direct and indirect. It doesn't sound like that here. I wonder if he's going to take responsibility for what he did to his wife. There is no doubt in my mind, based upon what I've garnered so far in researching this case on a cursory level, that he is most likely the culprit in her disappearance and death. We had the pleasure of meeting Anna in person. She visited Sebastian consulate on numerous occasions for different counselor services, I guess. We remember her as a lovely lady. So it sounds like she must have been Serbian, because she's going to the consulate in New York, the Republic of Serbia in New York. So anyways, getting on with this case. Possible evidence found in the trash family home. Law enforcement have searched the home of Anna and Brian Walsh, as well as areas north of Boston. The Norfolk County District Attorney said in a statement Tuesday, the Walsh hometown is about 20 miles south of Boston. The search of North Boston uncovered a number of items, which will be tested and determine if they are related to the case. The district attorney's office, did not share details about the items. Law enforcement sources told in CNN that investigators are combing through trash at a transfer station in Peabody, a city 20 miles north of Boston, found materials they believed could be linked to Anna Walsh's disappearance, including a hacksaw, torn-up clothes, and what appears to be bloodstains. It goes on to say a source with direct knowledge of the investigation. Oh, I missed that part because of the ad here, so I can't read it. But the husband told police he visited his mother on July 1st, the day he said he last saw his wife. A bloodied, broken knife, bloodstains were also found in the search of the family's basement, prosecutors said. Investigators hope to collect blood samples from the Walsh's son so they can have a direct bloodline sample to compare against traces found in the basement, law enforcement said. Brian Walsh's attorney declined to comment to CNN. The husband's internet records also included searches of how to dispose of a body of a 115-pound woman's body. This is getting this is getting twisted, guys. So this guy has a lot of stuff. And let's go over his other case. The husband pled guilty in federal fraud. Brian was indicted on federal fraud charges in 2018 for allegedly selling a fake Andy Warhol painting online. And it wasn't just one, it was multiple paintings. If you look at his background, he has where he owned a meat company and a wine company. And I kept wondering, is he imitating the quality of meat? Was he selling bunk wine? This sounds like a professional con man that has garnered his wealth and his money from conning people, selling them something that it's not. So anyways, I just thought this was very, very interesting. It's sad. There she is. She's a beautiful young lady. It seems like she's not even from this country. He may have preyed upon her, and then when she had just had enough, it is my belief that he decided to get rid of her, or she knew more, and maybe she would have been a horrible witness, or told him that she would not lie for him anymore. Maybe she's sick of the conning. Maybe she said she was going to leave him. Either way, there's a lot of theories that are now starting to hit the streets of YouTube. I'm curious about your theory. But before we go on to that, I wanted to go back to the photos I have. So here is the letter. This is the affidavit for Brian Walsh. It says Walsh has been convicted in federal court of felony fraud by wire and is currently on pre-sentencing probation. This probation condition includes monitoring and home confinement. Walsh must request leave from his home every week and specify the time and the need for such leave. On the week begins Sunday, January 1st, 2023, Walsh was granted leave for dropping his children off at school each day from 8 to 10:30 and pick up his kids from 3:15 to 6:45. Among other approval leave times was 11 to 1:30 for shopping on Wednesday, January 4th. On Sunday, January 1st, 2023, Walsh had requested travel between 3 to 9 p.m. to drop off his mother. Walsh told investigators his mother had recent cataract surgery and she was staying with him at his residence so he could assist her. Walsh said he had this time scheduled. Walsh said he had this time to schedule so he could bring her home after her recovery. During the interviews with Walsh, he stated that his mother had recovered from her surgery quicker than expected and had driven her home. However, he still used the time he had approved to go visit her and run errands for her. The errands were trips to Whole Foods and CVS that investigators later showed did not occur through hours of viewing video evidence. It also is important to note that this is day one of Anna being missing. So she went missing on January 1st when he's saying he's dropping his mother off and he had errands to run for her. Walsh's statements to investigators about his whereabouts on Monday, January 2nd were consistent in that he took his older children for ice cream or a smoothie at Press Juice Bar in Norwell. This was during the morning hours he allotted for the school drop-off, 8 to 10:30. And the reason why I'm having a hard time reading it is I'm reading this from my phone, and it's very small print. So in order for me to read it, I have to zoom in on it, and then it would make the video hard for you guys to see if you wanted to blow it up. So I got to keep it this size. Please just bear with me. The data from Walsh's cell phone extraction give on content also showed that the device traveled to his area of Broxton and Abington during the week beginning January 1st. The itinerary for Walsh's Eve from the home does not include such towns for approval for travel. So they're looking at his video evidence. I'm just going to get to the conclusion. You guys can read that on here. The conclusion is based on the fact set forth herein. And based on my training, education, experience, and participation in investigations, I submit these probable cause and believe Brian Walsh has violated GI Section 26, Section 13B1, witness, juror, policy, court official, intimidate. Wow. Wherefore, by the affidavit and application, I respectfully request that this court issue a criminal complaint for Brian R. Walsh. So there you have it, folks. I will post these two attachments in my community tab if you'd like to read them for yourself. But here you go. Just thought this was interesting. Let me know what you think. God bless.